Hey, what's up, people? So I hear a lot of Star Wars fans, especially EU haters, who say like, "Oh, the expanded universe, it had such a terrible continuity. Oh, there were so many contradictions, and they did nothing to maintain the continuity of the universe." Well, I wanted to debunk that. I'm going to read a bunch of quotes from various people at Lucasfilm to prove all that nonsense wrong. The first quote I have here is from Leland Chi on the StarWars.com article, "What is the Holocron?" Unlike other franchises that reboot with most every incarnation, Star Wars had proven itself over the years to be a singular universe. Everything outside the films was collectively known as the expanded universe, serving as an extension of the same universe as the films. If something happened in a book or a comic, it could potentially affect everything else happening in the universe. Any discrepancies that resulted would be resolved or retconned, short for retroactive continuity, i.e. changes from previously established continuity across the board to try to create some consistency. So as you can see, there's my first bit of proof. This is from Super Stoney in Star Wars Insider issue 23. "A great deal of attention and care has been put into fleshing out the Star Wars universe because fans are sophisticated." As Matt Wilkins said, "Thank you. Yes, we are." And demanded a cohesive approach. Star Wars universe is unique in each story builds upon the last and leads into the next. Star Wars Insider issue 101. "The concept of an expanded universe certainly isn't unique to Star Wars. Many popular genre properties from Star Trek to Alien release spin-off tales that shed light on events not seen in the official narrative. But the Star Wars EU is unique both in its size and its care, which is shepherded." I think they misspelled some things in here, whoever posted this on that website, so it kind of sounds awkward. But anyway, Star Wars EU is unique both in its size and its care, which is in the narrative, which is shepherded and organized. Okay, yeah, they misspelled this. I'll try to correct it. You get what they're saying. It's kind of awkward to read because they misspelled everything. Because I got this from the Star Wars Force for Continuity, whatever it's called, website. And they misspelled the quote wrong, but you get what I'm saying. They're saying it's official. Oh, this is really long. It's from Kevin J. Anderson, Introduction to Dark Empire Collection, 1995. "Other writers besides myself and Timothy Zahn are writing further adventures in the Star Wars universe, all of which begin regularly appearing in your bookstore. Each installment changes the characters and the galactic situation in the overall saga. The Star Wars universe is complex and vast, and internally consistent, and we authors have to keep it that way. The details established in the films are clear-cut and obvious to follow. A bigger problem comes when we authors need to be consistent with each other. Since we are writing most of these novels concurrently, we have to be fully aware of the other developing stories, even though our novels are set in different time frames. Lucy Wilson at Lucasfilm has been our primary contact and conduit for information, offering her own suggestions and helping keep the stories unified. She has told us that we don't necessarily have to refer to anything that happens in the other writers' adventures, but we must make certain that we just don't contradict anything." This is from the New Yorker, January 6, 1997. Lucas's day-to-day activities in the main house include the management of the Star Wars story, which is probably the most carefully tended secular story on Earth. Unlike Star Trek, which is a series of episodes connected by no central narrative, Star Wars is a single story, a finite, expanding universe. In the words of Tom Dupree, who edits Bantam's Star Wars novels in New York, everyone in the content-creating galaxy of Star Wars has a copy of the Bible, a burgeoning canonical document, currently 170 pages long, that is maintained by continuity editors Alan Kosh and Sue Rustoni. It is a chronology of all the events that have ever occurred in the Star Wars universe, in all the films, books, CD-ROMs, games, comic books, and role-playing guides, and each medium is seamlessly coordinated with the others. It's from Star Wars Insider issue 59. The idea licensing deal with Bantam was passed to George Lucas, who had agreed that licensing could expand on the films with original fiction set after Return of the Jedi. In the early days of the publishing department, Wilson worked closely with her administrative assistant, Sue Rustoni, now managing editor of the department, as well as adult fiction on editorial projects. The two of them decided that to maintain quality, it would be crucial to monitor the storylines of all projects to ensure that none of the books contradicted one another. This continuity decision became one of the department's biggest challenges and greatest successes. Howard Rothman on TheWire.com in 2008 said, "We set parameters," Rothman says. "It had to be an important extension of the continuity, and it had to have internal integrity with the events portrayed in the films. Closely tending the canon was paying off with the fans. Essentially, all the new comic books, novels, and games were prequels and sequels of one another." Alright. This is from Lucasfilm Fan Club Magazine, issue 22 from 1994. The West End Games Star Wars material was all based on the movies, but additional material had to be created for the role-playing games in order to fill out the Star Wars universe. Lucasfilm provided assistance and retained final approval. This means that the Star Wars material produced by West End Games is as close to being as official as it can be without actually coming from George Lucas himself. Lucasfilm is concerned with keeping the continuity and the cohesiveness of the Star Wars universe together. And the goal for a guide to the Star Wars universe is that it will provide other authors with the information necessary to maintain the integrity of the Star Wars universe. This is from Mark Kodavaz, Secrets of the Shadows of the Empire, 1996. Continuity has been the supreme commandment at Lucasfilm for Shadows and all its Star Wars projects. The company had made the decision not only to expand its universe, but to have it unfold as a seamless chronicle. Whether a new star system is explored in a novel or a scene is set in ancient Jedi days from a comic series, nothing can contradict the history or logic of what has gone before. To keep it all straight, there is the canon, a timeline of major events and lifespan of main characters prepared by the continuity editors of Lucasfilm and considered the in-house Bible of the Star Wars universe. This is also from Marco de Vaz in the same source. To keep track of the history of the universe, in 1992, Sue Rustoni began preparing a written chronology of events from famous battles to the lifespans of characters, which is as long as the universe is expanding, is an ongoing process. By 1994, Alan Kosh had begun translating the chronology into a visual reference, a taped-together scroll of about 11 by 17-inch pieces of paper that unrolled to 3 feet in length and was marked with a horizontal line drawn across and inscribed underneath with historic events. This is also from another thing from Star Wars Insider 23, 1994. Lucasfilm licensing serves two functions. They make sure all new material is consistent with the films, consistent in its portrayal of the Rebels and Empire's conflict, consistent in how it introduces characters in different races and cultures, and even consistent in design direction. Additionally, licensing makes sure the new material from different sources is consistent. Our aim is to have a lot of cross-fertilization between mediums. This validates the universe for fans, continued Rothman. We're building an integrated team that's product in this integrated universe. The result is a universe so carefully and explicitly evolved that it begins to parallel our own Milky Way in its diversity, logic, and believability. So there you have it. The expanded universe's continuity was well maintained. They made sure to maintain the continuity. There pretty much was a story group before the official one was created in whenever it was, the Disney one. It just wasn't called the story group back then. And it's funny how we have these people doing a much better job at maintaining the Star Wars canon than the current people are doing now. Because the current story group is doing so terrible. Like, there's so many contradictions in the new canon, and they're doing nothing about them. Like, they established there can't be dark side Force ghosts, and yet that has been contradicted 2 times within the new Marvel comics and in Star Wars Rebels. And if the rumors are true that Palpatine is returning in the form of a Force ghost, that'll be the 3rd time. And yes, the expanded universe did have a few contradictions here and there, but it wasn't a lot. The majority of them were incredibly minor. And the vast majority of them were all explained with retcons, as you can see in the quotes I provided. They said that they can be fixed with retcons. And the amount of actual contradictions that have never been explained in the expanded universe, as of the decanonization, it's less than the number of fingers on my hand. Like, Skeleton Githany. Githany surviving the thought bomb in the comic, but being instantly killed by it in the Darth Bane novels. Like, they never explained that. But things like the Death Star plans being stolen by multiple people, all that was explained. Like, the amount of contradictions that are currently in the expanded universe that were never dealt with pales in comparison to the amount of contradictions that are in the new canon. In fact, I might leave a link to a State of Star Wars podcast where we talk about dumb stuff and contradictions in the new canon, so you guys can watch it. So yeah, it's just the new canon is a complete mess compared to what was before. So yeah, just wanted to do that, and I will see you people around. Have a good day and good evening.